Okay, guys, if you didn't hear it today, Bybit got hacked for 1.4 billion ETH, market impact and future implications. I'm going to talk about what I think we're likely to see and why. Now, I put up a second video. I was just on my way back from work where I recorded my thoughts, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But for those of you guys who don't know, trading the drama around FTX was my best trade ever. Here was that point. I ended up closing it for $45,000, but I'm holding up the trade right now. It's on a flashcard I like to look at to remember. And I don't think Bybit is going to be exactly like FTX, but there's likely to be similar fallout. So let's not even look at the news, but just consider what happens. Okay, so Bybit hacked. Okay, so what's for sure going to happen is um, bank run on Bybit. So what is a bank run? It just means people are going to withdraw some amount of their funds. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they withdraw some of their funds? Some withdrawals will be converting crypto to fiat. Okay, are you staying with me here? So some people are going to be like, I just want to be safe. I'm going to withdraw from Bybit. These are things that are guaranteed to happen. And by the way, how old is this news? It's about 6 hours. Oh, we'll go back and we're going to look at FTX, and I'm going to go through the timeline with you guys. So there's going to be a bank run on Bybit. It's already ongoing. Some withdrawals will be converting. So there will be some optional selling, I'm going to call it. Some optional selling. There's also going to be panic selling, and then there's going to be liquidation selling. There's also likely to be withdrawals and hesitance from other exchanges, withdrawals from other exchanges, right? These are, and some of those withdrawals are going to be converting to fiat, right? It, it's just it. Some people are going to be converting. Some people are going to be converting to fiat. It's just how it is. Some people won't be. Some people will withdraw Bitcoin, ETH, whatever. Hesitance. Some people are going to have hesitance to deposit on other exchanges. Some people are seeing it like an opportunity where the price has already moved, but I think it's very likely um, there's also going to be mainstream news coverage next week. It's a Friday, so it might not move that much over the weekend. So there's going to be mainstream news coverage, and there's a chance that Bybit goes down. I think it's unlikely, but they're going to get tested. So what Bybit going down, like the worst case is the exchange is insolvent. It's super unlikely. They're most likely can cover it, and they can also cover they could probably raise money if they need to. That doesn't mean that these other things won't happen, right? These other things will for sure happen. There's for sure going to be a bank run on Bybit. It's already ongoing. There's for sure going to be people withdrawing. Okay, here's another one. Head shorting on other exchanges. So one thing that's going to happen, if you have funds on Bybit and now it's in doubt if you're going to be able to access them, you're going to go short on a different exchange. So all this leads to a lot of selling. I'm looking for a liquidation event to give a good buying opportunity over the next week. I don't expect it to happen today. So let's go back and look at FTX. Now, some of you guys are going to say, well, Trav, since the news, let's look at the news breaking, was right here. Prices already dumped 4%. Isn't that enough? Could be. It could be. But I'll tell you that FTX dumped 40%. And that's a difference. Like that was a major American exchange going insolvent, but let's look. So the news broke on a Sunday. It actually broke on Twitter on Sunday. Monday people were speculating, and then the liquidation happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. So it actually took 3 days for things to really happen. So it was actually Sunday when news was breaking on Twitter that FTX was having problems and maybe didn't have enough to cover funds. And then it was Monday was kind of slow and started to move down. And then we got the insane volatility and liquidations on Tuesday and Wednesday. So today is Friday. It possibly could take until, if this were to play out, would take a while. Now that said, it led to a really excellent buy point where the best buy point was a sweep of this on Monday, a week later, the following week. But I mean, wherever you bought, if you ended up holding, this was the bottom. It was prices under $16,000. Um, and it took until after the holidays to fully reverse, but it did. Right? Price totally reversed. So my idea here is to be a seller here and wait. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research on the market and also what people are thinking. But you guys know I've been talking about a bearish possibility for a while, where um, we got a sell signal on Bitcoin on this day on our system when price failed to break out at all-time highs. This was the day before Trump's inauguration, which is key. Also, somewhere in here on one of these days, Trump signed an executive order to make crypto a national priority and also establish a sovereign national wealth fund. Price dumping on bad news is not good. So here we have actual bad news coming in. What do we expect? I expect a lot more than a 4% move. Um, we also, it's late cycle, right? You might want to argue it's not, but it's late cycle. It could go to the end of the year, but how far do you really want to push it? We're up 600% on Bitcoin from the bottom. Um, we've got bearish daily fair value gaps that aren't getting retested. We have now US 100 is also reacting really negatively. I wonder if they're going to attribute it to a closed. Worst day of 2025 is crazy. Just when I get in. Disappointing economic data. Okay. Well, I was actually able to get out at a decent price. Um, so failure at all-time highs after like a long sideways period is usually not bullish. We can talk about the Buffett indicator, we can talk about PE ratios, we can talk about margin debt, we can talk about commitment of traders, but it's enough to make me want to be really cautious on Bitcoin and crypto in the markets in general. Now, there's a couple possibilities. So, say that you did want to sell. To me, the reasonable stop is where price was before the news or at the news. So around here, to me, that's pretty reasonable. Somewhere between 98 and 100. It also kind of makes sense. We're in this range. Liquidity is building up. People are getting patient, building positions, expecting this breakout, well, potentially failed breakout. Now, if we want to, it's really hard to hold for a trend on Bitcoin and ETH. I mean, if we did want to do it, where do we think price would go? 84. I mean, you'd know it when you see it potentially, but we're also just, I mean, it wouldn't be unreasonable just to look for price to go like and take out this candle at 89 because price usually bounces at old monthly lows. Not always, but usually, which is, yeah, around 89. I just want to make sure on most exchanges. So that could be a reasonable target, although that's not necessarily my buy point. Would want to see it reclaimed. That would be like a short term, but I mean, if we look at FTX on Bitcoin, it did bounce at these yellow lines, the old monthlies, but then it broke down much further. So I think it's possible we have an actual breakdown, and it does happen. It's not super common, but we had one here, and we had one here. So to me, this is a special situation where it might make sense to me to not target this low and try to trade for like significantly lower prices, like a huge move down. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So why Bitcoin? I know it's the strongest one, so uh, why am I looking at Bitcoin? It has the most liquidation, and also if people are going to withdraw from exchanges and be sketched out, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to be ETH. Maybe it's supposed to be ETH. ETH had such a bigger liquidation already. I know there's less juice to drive it down, is partly why. Let's look at some funding rate data. Uh, and then we're going to look at Bitcoin and ETH on Coinalyze. And then I'm going to look at the news a little bit. To me, this is a discretionary trade worth trying because, wow, unbelievably, funding is high actually on Bitcoin and ETH. That's crazy. People are actually longing. Although it looks like we had negative funding come in right when the news came out, but shorts already closed. Okay, there's been a huge liquidation of open interest already. Let's look. I want to look at both. It's already been a pretty good liquidation, but like I'm saying, there's this daisy chain that takes a while to play out. So what we're seeing on Bitcoin is unbelievably funding is spiking high right now. People are actually going long. We see long, yeah, people are longing the dip right now. That's crazy to me. Okay, interesting. We're seeing, at least on the 1 hour, funding has been negative on other stuff. So, yeah. Now that said, there was initially a lot of volatility, almost recovered, and then price has sold off 3%. So, I mean, there's possibility of retracement because we already had such a sharp move. So, say that price wants to chill here, just mark these levels just to know like what possible retracement levels. Um, we're also seeing these gaps, which I'm gonna mark them. I wish I had acted sooner, but I'm where I am. I got the news. I got the news at about 5:55, but I was too early in the morning to think. Like it was, where was it? I got the news right in here, but it was just too early. Solana, what's the one to sell? Solana's just breaking down. I'm okay with doing Bitcoin, honestly. So for a target, I want to look at where significant liquidation levels are. So let's go to BTC liquidations. Yeah, this, I want to look at the liquidation heat map. I think I like Coinalize for that. Yeah. So liquidations, about 200 million, which is a lot, but it's could be significantly more. So let's look. If there's a major liquidation event, okay, the 1 year is not really going to show us. You might need to go to the 3 month. I mean, this area, like to 85 maybe, I'd be okay with that. It wouldn't make sense to go below 86 on liquidations. So if we were to set up a trade, maybe like 86. Now it's possible it could just reverse immediately to new highs. That would, it's possible. It would kind of shock me though, but it's for sure possible. It has been such a sharp move that retracing into these areas is definitely possible. It would be kind of shocking for price to make a new high, but it's possible. Okay. So now I'm kind of curious. I want to see what the chatter is. I don't know that I follow a lot of traders, but I want to see what's the conversation. Okay, I don't have a feed on. Let's turn it off. Extensions, stay free. Gonna turn this one off for now. Off. That one blocks my feed. I think it does. Let's look. Simple blocker. No, it's this one. Probably. Okay. I'm gonna say remove from Chrome. Page marker, TubeBuddy, stay free. That one's off. Newsfeed eradicator. This one, probably this one. Okay. The Bybit hack is officially the largest crypto heist in history. 1.46 billion stolen, still counting. That's 16% of all crypto hacks combined. I'm curious about how much do they have? Like, how big a hole is this? He's Okay, 1 to 1. I wonder what the total is. Okay, let's see what ETH was. ETH, 101%. Okay, so they're not whole as far as ETH goes. What is 500,000 times, what's the price of ETH? ETH 2,000 something? 2,700, something like that. Somebody do the zeros here. They lost all their ETH. They lost their entire stack. Hang on, they might have said, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Okay. Biden administration. Are people paying attention to this? 1.46 billion. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So they didn't break code, they broke humans. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I mean, this is just making me, I expect a lot of volatility around this. I'll say that. I mean, even now, we're still in this little range here. I guess price could go higher to troll people. It's possible. Okay. See, I want to know what's going on with Bybit. I'm not just gonna scroll through the feed here. I want to see the top. Okay. It hasn't posted for me. Finally got my FTX payout. It's been a long 2.5 years, but glad to have the money back. Just deposited on Bybit. What are we longing? Yeah, it's true. Imagine hacking Bybit and taking 1.5 billion. What do you even do after that? You can't move the funds anywhere because they'll just track it. Have fun staring at 1.5 billion and not being able to use it while having the feds coming after you. It could be just it's basically a ransom hack, could be. Okay. Just want to know like what the vibe is. Okay. The Lazarus group. Okay. Zach, how much is the bounty? 50K Arkham. What is Arkham? 50K. Oh, it's like he made like 30 grand in a day. Happy for you. That's pretty sick. I can't believe people are going long right now. Okay. It says Bybit is solvent even if this hack is not covered. All of our client assets are back to one. We can. I'm just kind of trolling for engagement, I guess. Um, it could potentially build my channel. Okay, we've reported the case to the corporate authorities. We'll send an update as soon as we have further information. Okay, okay. Plus 10R? What? That's crazy. Um, yeah. $1,000 reported. Right, they should charge more. Okay, let's check this out.
I mean, to me, how many, I think one question is how many users are affected? I mean, to be honest, right now, everyone is affected, right? I think, some of our retail, how many, I think one question is how many users are affected? I mean, to be honest, right now, everyone is affected, right? I think,
It's not what you want to hear.
some of our retail.
That's not what you want to hear. That's not what we want to hear, is it? I really like this area right here. 85,200. Turn off this beeping. Stop. So, I mean, I am in a short. I did open. I wish I had started started earlier, but okay. Yeah, I kind of wish I had, when I was seeing it happen, I was like not really thinking. There could be a lot of volatility around this too. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't thinking because it was 6 a.m. and I had to go to work, but that would have been even entering it here. I might stop at 98 actually, which I think is okay. We have some pretty big gaps overhead. Also, it's almost unbelievable that apes are max longing here. Jesus. Yeah, this doesn't. He looks pretty uncomfortable. Let's see, where's that? Uh, yeah, okay. These things are very likely to happen. Optional selling and withdrawing from Bybit exchanges. Panic selling, short hedging, panic selling. Okay, one would be heightened volatility, short hedging, panic selling, and um, forced selling. Awesome buy opportunity. It's unlikely it's already shaken out yet. Okay. Now it could be that we just continue to range. That would be sort of wild. Coming into support. I mean, say that we look at altcoins. We did come into support, and it might mean coming all the way back up and testing some of these. Yeah, interested to see how it plays out. As for US 100, like, what kind of close is that, man? Let's look at some of the main stocks: Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Nvidia, Apple. And a lot of the selling came right at the bell. Oh wow, Apple held up. Yeah, okay, not too much more to say. Um, okay, okay, okay. Maybe when we're gonna watch the live stream. I mean, it could be the worst is over, but I think it's unlikely. Watch this. Okay, okay, that's crazy. Right. So this is what I'm saying. Bybit has the reserves and will probably be fine. But all the Bybit users are running for the hills. Replacing the ETH at a small premium would likely be a smaller expense than permanent damage to your brand and business. What they're going to have to do, or what's going to happen as people run for the hills, is um, some of them are going to convert to fiat. Okay, I feel like this one lags, but I think I had a, I don't remember what it was. I think I had an account. Account doesn't exist. Try here. Okay. Exchange withdrawals. It's not gonna show. Wait, what? Does it not show until like 2024? What? Oops. Right, we don't have the numbers. It's not gonna be out. Okay. Anyways, I'll come back to it later. Just take care of yourselves.